Hello, California FFA. My name is Scott, and I am Danielle's older brother.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michael, and I am Danielle's younger brother.
And hello, my name is Michaela Tilton, and I am Danielle's best friend.
As long as I can remember, Danny has been part of my life. Being only 16 months apart, we were raised almost as if we were twins. Growing up, we had some interesting times, like when Mom caught me giving you a haircut, and the only way to fix your hair was to get a bowl cut, just like mine. Twins come with a rivalry for anything that happens. I remember the time Danny was outraged by the fact that I excelled farther than her in her piano lessons. Danny threw the biggest fit and ended up quitting because she thought for some reason we had to be equal and it wasn't fair that I was farther than her. High school. I'll never forget the first day Danielle came and everyone called her Scott's sister. Danny would be so mad that she didn't have her own identity as Danielle or Danny. But I'm going to tell you, a lot of things have changed since then. As destiny would have it, we both ended up as students at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. And now the tables have definitely turned. If I'm at any place at Cal Poly and someone sees my last name, they ask, "Are you Danielle Diele's brother?" A big reason for that is because of all that Danny has accomplished through this FFA program. Everything Danny has done in her life is amazing, and I never thought that through our rivalry, Danny would be someone that I look up to. As an older brother, I'm so proud of you and love you very much. I couldn't imagine life without you.
Danny has always been someone in my life that I had to look up to until I was a 7th grader and grew about 3 inches, then she looked up to me. Growing up, my sister taught me the values you need in life. She taught me good cooking, how to pick up stray cats from the middle of nowhere, and how to style your hair like a clown. Not only has Danny always been organized, but she is responsible, a friend and sister to always talk to, and a person that has valued friendships in life. Danny has always been someone of service, whether it's serving her school, community, or you, the members of the California FFA. Her work ethic is one that I've always been impressed with. She is a hard worker, and she has a great passion for what she does. She is a lovable sister and one who I can always look up to as a role model, and one who has set good, positive examples for me to follow. I'm glad that Danny has been able to serve this state. She loves California, agriculture, and education. I'm glad that I can call her my sister. Not only has Danny been a role model for me, but she has been a role model for the over 80,000 California FFA members. Thank you, Danny, for always loving and caring for me. I love you and will always look up to you.
I can still remember the day that I first met Danny. When she rang my doorbell and introduced herself, little did I know the girl moving next door to me would become my best friend. Ever since Danny moved in, we have been inseparable. Danny, being a year older than me, always came up with the best ideas, even if our parents didn't think so. Like the time we found 2 dogs that escaped, and we thought it would be a good idea to guess which house was their home. Well, it turned out not to be the right house, but our hearts were in the right place. Or like the time we went around our neighborhood asking our neighbors to judge our mud pie creations like an episode of Chopped. Needless to say, Danny always found a way to make even the most ordinary activities a memorable moment. Growing up with Danny has been quite an adventure, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I am so proud of all that Danny has accomplished. None of Danny's accomplishments have come as a surprise to me because she is such a hardworking and dedicated individual. Anything Danny sets her mind to, I know she will accomplish. I look up to Danny in so many ways and hope to be as great of a leader as she is. I am so happy that little blonde girl rang my doorbell, because if she hadn't, I wouldn't have got to know such an amazing person that I get to call my best friend.
California FFA, we are honored to present to you our sister
and my best friend,
your California State Reporter,
Danielle Diele.
Do what you can with what you have where you are. President Theodore Roosevelt wrote these words in his autobiography just a few short years before his death in 1919. He was speaking to the American people, a generation of our past known as the GI generation. This generation is said to have been the children of World War I and the fighters and champions of World War II. And because of that, they single-handedly saved the world and built this great nation, full of flourishing communities and the American dream. Theodore Roosevelt knew that this generation of people was community-minded, and with the quote, "Do what you can with what you have where you are," he encouraged them to continue living this legacy. This means to take what you have right where you have it and those you have it with and improve upon it, creating a better life for yourself, for your community, and for the future. The GI generation is known as the greatest American generation. And I don't think it's a coincidence that it's the same generation of a small group of Virginia farm boys who wanted to improve agriculture where they were and did what they can in 1928 by joining with other states to form what we now know and love as the FFA. It is then that our motto was created: learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, and living to serve. If we live by these words, we do an exceptional job at doing what we can with what we have where we are. We learn to do in our classrooms, we do to learn through our SAEs, and we earn to live those opportunities presented to us for us to grow within agricultural education. Finally, we live to serve by helping others. As a freshman student, I looked at that line, "Live to serve," and I thought it meant a year of service, a title stitched in yellow under the names on our jackets. But I came to find out often that kind of service benefits the individual more than it does others. I don't think that's what our founders wanted for future generations. In fact, I think they looked at that last line the same way Roosevelt looked at their generation, wanting to encourage FFA members to be involved in their communities and in the service of others. The National FFA organization outlines the value of community service as service learning. This is because community service isn't just about helping others. It's about the lessons of integrity and character we gain along the way. It is said that students who volunteer are overall more responsible and have higher self-esteem. With that in mind, we would think that everyone would want to live to serve. However, statistics prove wrong. According to sociologist Robert Putnam, in studies he conducted, 53% of our parents' generation believes that our generation is the reason why America's civil life has weakened in recent years. If that's not enough, 67% or 2/3 of the American workforce believes that our generation lacks in being a concerned citizen involved in helping others in the community. Why is this? What has happened in the last 80-something years to make our generation so much different than the generation of the past? We spend more time connecting with users online than we do connecting with people face to face. We constantly are more focused on the individual, and we place small emphasis on the power that comes with collective effort. And by doing this, we maximize those negative manifestations in our lives. We don't build community. It is character, integrity, and community that build strong generations. And ours must take lessons on community and on service in order that we can build a generation that we are proud of. I can recall a time in which I learned from community and from service. During my junior year of high school, a few events took place that made me feel in a very low place. The agricultural advisor at my high school, whom I highly respected, left the school. I ran for regional office, something I had heart and passion in, only to find out I wouldn't even make the slate. And finally, I became involved in a very unhealthy relationship in which I was constantly told that I wasn't good enough and that everything I had to offer was worthless. At a time in which I felt at my lowest, I took a chance to volunteer in my community. I became Miss Merced County. Now, with this opportunity, I was able to attend the annual LeGrand Community Day Parade. LeGrand is a small community of about 1,700 people, and this day is all about celebrating its community, full of a parade, activities in the park, and a barbecue. When I got there that early Sunday morning, I ran into my parade spot, and I was immediately welcomed by volunteers. I did my best pageant walk and wave down that small block of the parade. And then the smell of deep pit barbecue began to fill the air as families played in the park. When my eyes met with a young man named Royce, he gave me the largest smile, and I walked over to greet him and his mother, Delia. We took this picture, and then I would have a conversation with them that would change my entire outlook on the importance of community. When Royce was 2.5 years old, he was involved in a terrible accident, leaving him with both mental and physical disabilities. Ever since then, Delia has given her life to her son, tending to any need he may have. But every year for the parade, Delia and her family come together and they built a float around his wheelchair. And they push this float in the parade every single year, and it is a sight that members of the community look forward to. In this way, Delia serves her community. She serves her son. But most importantly, Delia serves herself. You see, Delia could allow the guilt or the anger that she feels from the accident to define her happiness, but she doesn't. She chooses community to allow light into her lives. The entire experience I had that day, going to the LeGrand Community Day Parade, meeting Delia and Royce, reminds me of the quote, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." I didn't run for Miss Merced County because I wanted the makeup or the hair or the crown. I did it because I was trying to find myself in service. But what I found is that Delia, Royce, and that entire community of LeGrand would be a far greater service to me that day than I could have ever been to them. Delia and Royce taught me that when we engage in service, we reject the greed and the anger that knock on the doors of our soul every day, and we open that door to generosity, compassion, and love. And those three things we only find in community. When we engage in service and in community, we begin to feel better about ourselves and about the situations that we are in. And they may sound selfish, but that's the truth. Service is a mutual beneficiary. Service serves us. But we don't need a crown on our head to be involved in community, because we look around, look down. We have a blue jacket. We have the community and the unity necessary to make a change. In fact, there are 630,000 people in this organization who wear this jacket. So FFA members, let's use that unity to create community, one that could stand solid and pave a way for generations. I know this because I've seen FFA members time and time again this year give back to their communities. 1 month ago, Bree and I had the opportunity to attend the Oregon State FFA Convention. While there, we were headed back to the cars to get back to our hotels after the very first session when we heard a few FFA members from behind us. They asked us if we would like to go get pizza. Us, the visiting state officers from Ohio, Minnesota, Washington, being very hungry, said, of course, and we hopped in their ag vans and headed down with the Perrydale FFA chapter to get some pizza. As we sat down, we began to get to know the members of the Perrydale FFA chapter for far more than just the names on their jackets. As the pizza arrived, we realized that the Perrydale FFA chapter had purpose in bringing us together that night. 4 members stood up out of their chairs and they walked to the front of our table. And they began sharing with us a program that they are involved in called Food for All. Food for All is a program that their agricultural advisor, Mr. Hutchinson, started in 1997, looking for a way to aid with hunger and malnourishment in their community. But Food for All isn't just any small canned food drive. Food for All gives an opportunity for students to collect, package, and distribute 40-pound allotments of fresh, ready-to-eat fruits and vegetables to needy families. This, however, has grown since 1997. So much that in last December, in just 3 weeks' time, the small FFA chapter of Perrydale, consisting of maybe only 45 members, collected, packaged, and distributed over 300,000 pounds of food and gave that to 7,500 needy families. Perrydale FFA knows what it means to do what they can with what they have, where they are. And because they've done that, they've given a small piece of home, a small piece of community, and a small piece of happiness all across the state of Oregon, but even more so all across the United States. Because when National FFA saw what the Perrydale FFA chapter was doing with their Food for All program, they created a grant giving financial assistance to any FFA chapter who desires to start their own Food for All program. And just last year, National FFA granted 149 Food for All grants in 40 different states. Perrydale FFA knows what it means to live to serve. The next day, Mr. Hutchinson invited me to the Food for All drive that they were having on their campus. While there, I asked Mr. Hutchinson, well, first let me give you this setting. We were on the Oregon State football field, and I was surrounded by members of the Oregon FFA Association. There, we packaged an additional 70,000 pounds of fresh produce. While there, I walked up to Mr. Hutchinson, and I asked him, Mr. Hutchinson, what is the greatest part of this now nationally recognized program that you started? And he looked at me and he said, Danny, it's simple. You see that boy over there? I looked down the line of packers and I saw a young boy, a freshman named Ezra, that I'd met the night before. He was enthusiastic, outgoing, and he couldn't wait to tell me all about this program. Mr. Hutchinson then continued to say, that boy down there in the beginning of the year didn't want to play sports like anyone else. He didn't even want to be in shop class. I talked to his teachers. He didn't say a single word in any of his classes. He was a loner. But that same boy, after I invited him to join Food for All, just 2 weeks ago, gave a presentation about this program to 2 CEOs of multi-million-dollar agricultural companies. Friends, that is proof. Community and service can change lives. When we take ourselves out of the isolation of others and into the service of others, we find a home. We build community. Being in the FFA, we probably question sometimes, why don't other people get it? Why don't they get that no matter how big or how small your problem is, we can find the solution to that problem when we engage in community and in service? Why is there so much negativity revolving our generation? Aside from all that negativity, though, we must realize that our generation will be known for being optimistic and focused. So let's allow our optimism to thrive through our focus, and our focus must shift away from ourselves and into community. In this organization, in fact, in this very arena, we have the greatest examples of people who are dedicated to serving their communities. Mrs. Boomer of the Upper Lake FFA chapter, who dedicated our entire chapter visit with them to helping the victims of the Valley Fire in Middletown. The officers of the Lincoln FFA chapter, who dedicated their entire year of service to the quote, "Let the love of service lead you," and have planned multiple community events to make that statement true. Mrs. Allen of the Live Oak FFA chapter, who gives her home and her heart to her students to create the greatest FFA family I saw all year. The donors, the sponsors, the members that we recognize on this very stage during this session, they know what it means to build community because they built the community we have in this entire arena. To those in my life who have built my community, to my FFA chapter and my advisors, know that sometimes the place that we grew up may feel discouraging, but know that it is in FFA in our community that you find home and you find a heart. Thank you, advisors, for always believing in me. To my family, to my friends, especially my parents, thank you for being the greatest examples of people who are dedicated to serving their communities. Thank you for always supporting me, and thank you for loving me. I love you. To the Mayfield family, no matter the fall or the break or the crack, you have always been there to support me and always be understanding. It is only out of the goodness of your heart that you have made my teammates and your family more than just people who work together. You have made us a community. You have made us a family. Thank you. To my teammates, two things. One, thanks for laughing at my jokes. And two, thank you for allowing me to be nothing but myself this year. I appreciate you all individually so much. And I am so blessed to have you in my life. But more importantly, this organization is so blessed to have each of you. I love you. To the members of California FFA, know that when I look back on this year of my life, it will be the most rewarding and the greatest year I've ever experienced. And that is only because of the sincere and genuine conversations I've had with you all year long. Thank you for allowing me to learn from you. Thank you for opening your communities, your homes, and your hearts to me this year. Thank you. Friends, we must realize it is no coincidence that the greatest generation is one who is marked by their ability to connect in community. In this organization, over any other, we have the power and the potential to build community once again in this nation. So the challenge is this: when we return back home, how will we do what we can with what we have where we are?
Your mouth is a revolver, find bullets in the sky. Your love is like a soldier, loyal till you die. And I've been looking at the stars for a long, long time. I've been putting out fires all my life. Everybody wants a flame, they don't want to get burned. And today is our this world is getting colder, strangers passing by. No one offers you a shoulder, no one looks you in the eye. But I've been looking at you for a long, long time, just trying to break through, trying to make you mine. Everybody wants to flame, they don't want to get burned. Well, today is our turn. Days like these lead to nights like this, lead to love like ours. You like the spark in my bonfire heart. People like us, we don't need that much, just someone that starts the spark in our bonfire hearts. Our bonfire hearts. Our bonfire hearts. Our bonfire hearts. You like the spark. People like us, we don't need that much, just someone that starts the spark in our bonfire hearts. Days like these lead to nights like this, lead to love like ours. You like the spark in my bonfire heart. People like us, we don't need that much, just someone that starts the spark in our bonfire hearts. Our bonfire hearts. Days like these lead to nights like this, lead to love like ours. You like the spark in my bonfire heart. People like us, we don't need that much, just someone that starts the spark in our bonfire hearts.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be.
And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be.
Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whispering words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be.
For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be.
Oh, let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be,
Let it be, let it be,
let it
be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
night is cloudy, there is still light that shines on me. Shine on till tomorrow, let it be.
Danny, Dan, Danny Diesel, Chipmunk, Carmony Lola, Danielle, Daniel, Danny. Good morning. This is Danielle Diele with your evening news. This morning, if you have overslept, no worries, because a snarl-like noise coming from Danny will soon wake you up. In terms of the weather today, in the words of our reporter, the water is really wet. Just kidding. It looks like the rain has cleared up. It looks like the rain has cleared up and the sun is shining as golden as your roots. If bound to the house by bad weather, don't worry, because her cooking skills are very, very spectacular. Believe me, without your cooking, there would be 5 very starving young adults who would not have survived this year. Oh, what is that? It looks like we have to take a 30-second break. What? Are you artichoking me? The reporter replied, she is quite punny, may it be known. What does she do during these breaks, you ask? Well, you can find her tenderizing her cheek meat. Dan, we can always count on you for your report of the latest CNN news or any random fact that you may find. But we want to report that this year without you would have been nothing, would be a negative snowflake. We can count on you to fill our lives with spontaneous moments and fun. At every event this year, you have brought the energy and have constantly made us laugh. From you strutting down the hallway, doing your pageant walk, to remaking every song while driving down the street in your Crayola-smelling green bug with the top down. You live your life to the fullest. This same individual This same love for life has been shared with not only us, but the members of California FFA. This year, as an individual with many talents, from being a great facilitator, to sleeping with one eye open, to making no one take the crown, to make sure that no one takes the crown next to your bed in the middle of the night, we are so thankful that you were a part of our lives. Your love for family and willingness to learn more about others continues to inspire us, and always put others first. We love you so much. Joelle, Sydney, Tim, and Bree. P.S. You got this, Dizzle.
California FFA Year 2015-2016 California State Reporter, Miss Danielle Diele.